Hey, hey, hey! Hey, everybody. Hello, Facebook. How are you guys doing today? Okay, I'm just going to wait and see if anyone is going to jump on. I have launched my second week today in Divine Cash Queen, and a story came through that I was, not expecting to come through on the call, but I guess it's actually a really cute story that I wanted to tell because it's something that has come up for me quite a while, quite a long time, and it took me so many years to figure this stuff out and how this actually. Oh, hello! We have someone watching. Say hi. I actually don't know who's watching. My computer doesn't show me who is watching, so hopefully you can say hello so I can see who you are. So yeah, I was about to share. Oh, it's my cousin. I love this girl. She's so cute. Anyway, so I have this story that I want to share. First of all, because it's really cute, but also because what's actually lying beneath it is really, really incredibly powerful. And once I got to the roots of it, I understood so many things about how my relationship with money was actually messed up. So when I was younger, I used to have a piggy bank with my brother. It was, like one of these things every time the family would come over, or, anyone in my family would come over. Okay, Kami, that's fine. I'll see you later. So every time someone would come over, I would basically just, put that, if we received a money gift, I would put it in my piggy bank. So it would just go in there and, we would be collecting it. And it was always very exciting because sometimes you get coins. And so when you shake the piggy bank, it obviously makes noise. Anyway, so it must have been maybe 7 or 8, possibly younger. I can't remember. But truth is, what happened is one day, my brother and I just decided that we would crack the piggy bank. We would, because we really wanted sweets, and some of our friends would always go to this shop to buy sweets. And so we figured that it would be quite fun to, oh, my gratitude alarm is just going. So we thought it'd be quite fun to just crack the piggy bank because we knew where the keys were. So we just cracked the piggy bank and we just take some money out and go and buy sweets. And this whole thing lasted for a couple of weeks, maybe more. I can't remember because I was so young. But the thing is, like, what was happening is that even though we were cracking the piggy bank, in our mind, like subconsciously, we knew that it wasn't right to do that. We shouldn't do that, right? Because the money that was in there, we knew it was for something like bigger, like, we were saving up for university or for, for secondary school. But I mean, as it is for kids, like when you see money that's right there, right? It doesn't make sense. Like university seems way far away. Why would you want to save up when you can just go down to the shop and get candies with your with the money that you saved up? So this whole thing lasted for a couple of weeks, and my brother and I were keeping this secret, and it was like, all our friends knew, but the adults didn't know, right? Say hello if you're watching. I can see some people jumping on, but I can't see who it is. So unless you leave a comment, I can't actually say hello to you. And I'd really love to see who is watching and who I can be, conversing with, because this is such a fun story. Anyway, so we had been cracking the piggy bank for all that time, right? And obviously, we wouldn't take lots of money out. We would literally just take like, a couple of, it was actually Luxembourgish franc at the time. Just take, a little bit of money out. But, every week, the ratio definitely kept dropping. And so one day, I think every couple of months or so, my dad would empty the piggy bank and bring the money into the actual current account, like into a little child account that we had. And so that day, he obviously found out that we had been, like, that there was money missing. And he couldn't figure out how there was money missing because, like he obviously, figured out that something was off. And so it was terrible. We had a massive sermon, like my dad went completely bonkers. Like, we got punished. I think there was a few things that we weren't allowed to do anymore, and like we were made to feel like really shameful and guilty about having done this, and this was like so bad. And so yeah, and I guess what was happening is that these stories came up again when I was working through my money blocks. And this is how crazy these things are, right? Like, you are a child, and as a child, it makes sense for you to feel those feelings because you're just coping, right? You're just coping, and then you learn, like you're doing things, and that's how you learn, when an adult tells you that it's not right to do certain things. And so as children, we pick up on those stories, we pick up on these things. But the crazy part was that what I had subconsciously taken in as a child was still playing out during my adult life. So when I was writing out some thoughts around money and some stories around money that happened, this story came up. And what was at the bottom of this was that it wasn't allowed to spend money for things that weren't reasonable. It wasn't allowed to spend money for things just to play. Money was something serious that you should, you have to only spend money on reasonable, rationally, like valid things. But not only that, it actually, embodied this whole thing that every time I would spend, that there was some kind of secrecy, like that you'll get trapped, like if you spend a lot of money or if you earn a lot of money, because earning a lot of money then means that you won't be able to get over that. You won't be able to get over that psyche that you will be possibly punished. So it's almost like subconsciously I was pushing away the vibration of money, because this story was still playing in the background. It's almost like an old disc that keeps scratching, but because it's been scratching for so long, your ear kind of fades it out. I don't know if you've ever been in locations where you have this, background noise. So this story was actually still playing in my consciousness and in my vibration in the background. And so it's amazing how, as an adult, I would still have these fears around, being caught if I spend a lot of money, or, and it would come out as, just feeling guilty if I did spend on something that was a little bit more frivolous, or that was, connected to joy and to love. And yeah, I just thought I'd share this story because I don't know what your relationship was to money when you were growing up. But, I grew up in a family, we didn't have like a ton of money, it was like we had money to buy everything that was essential, to have food on the table and all these things. But, there wasn't like a ton of money to go around to just like spend wildly. So, when I was working through my money blocks, especially just before I went on my world trip, like I was facing all these fears. It's almost like this guilt and this shame just started to come up, and this shame and this guilt was still playing, especially when I was, this is not just related with money, but it's also related to creativity, right? Because as a child, when I was a child, that minute when I was spending money on sweets, it was just because we wanted to have that pleasure, right? So it was just the pleasure and the joy of having, tasting sweets, and, being somewhat important at class, because then we would swap the sweets and we would, taste some of this one and some of that one. So it was a way to connect, right? So this was a way that we found that we could connect with our friends and we could play, right? So we were doing it out of a space of, freedom and wild abandon. And so because we got punished, and because, there was this sensation that it was bad to do it, I kept that, running in the background, even much later. And also connected to creativity, how, like spending money on my dance course, for example, when I went studying, I remember those first 3-4 months, that I was investing in this, dance training. I had a lot of guilt and shame because I felt that, I was somewhat betraying my parents, because I was, investing all my money that I received from my student loan, I was investing it into my creativity and into something that would bring me joy and pleasure rather than doing something serious, like, you know, studying to become a lawyer and so on and so on. So that's how it related in my, you know, in my own sort of in the studies, and when I spend money on my actual studies, right? Because somewhat in my mind, it was still not okay. Like, even though I was doing it, there was something playing, you know, in my subconscious, that it wasn't okay to invest money in something that makes me happy, in something that I feel passionate about. And so later on, what happened as well is that I would keep things secret. So when I would run out of cash, or I would run, you know, into a rut, you know, especially when I was still living in London in the beginning, like, there were so many times when I was literally counting my pennies, you know, to end the month, and I wouldn't tell anyone because I was afraid subconsciously, right? Because this is what it is like you build all these crazy stories and all these crazy links as to how you're not allowed to talk about money, because when you talk about money, that means that, you know, something is going to come up that is going to be painful, something is going to show up that isn't going to feel that you're receiving love. It will feel like you're receiving punishment or criticism or you know, disconnection. And so there's always been that fear, you know, that if I am in trouble, if I need something, that I'm not allowed to ask for it. And I truly believe that this whole pattern is all tied in as well into how, you know, I was led into this toxic relationship that I was in for about 5 years. And it became toxic because I wasn't actually allowing myself to ask for what I needed, right? Like, this is what it boils down to. You know, your relationship to money is actually a relationship to whatever it is that you attach with money, because we always attach certain topics with money. So for a very long time, I would attach money to safety, and then I would attach money to freedom, and I would attach money to love. Like, these three big elements are always tied in together. And so if I wasn't allowing myself to ask for money, or to ask, you know, for the rent to be paid on time, I would actually feel guilty about having to ask for it. And I would feel shameful, and I would feel disgusted that I had to ask my partner again, you know, that rent was late. And also, he would literally just not pay for like weeks, right? So it's crazy. It's crazy because at the same time, I was asking for it, but I was feeling bad about asking for it. And so I wasn't having my needs met, you see? So this is how all these things are just so intricately weaved together in our subconscious. And all of that, you know, I always, like, when I was working through this emotionally, this story kept coming up, you know, this story from my childhood kept coming up. And I didn't understand what the link was until I started to really work through the roots of all these different things, of how it's not okay to ask for money. It's not okay to receive money. It's not okay to spend and invest just because I enjoy it, right? So if I spend and invest into something that I want to enjoy, that I feel pleasure for, it means that I also have to feel the guilt feelings and the shame feelings and the fear of being punished and being invalidated and being disconnected from, you know, my primary love people, which were my parents. But that kind of then tied and weaved itself through into my relationships and into my friendships, how it wasn't okay to talk about money, how it was easier to keep things secret and to just get on with things and be on my own, rather than, you know, putting it out there and be honest and be authentic and be raw. So yeah, I mean, this is quite a vulnerable share, I guess, because, you know, there's so much, you know, in that little story, you know, when we crack the piggy bank. Like, when you're a child, you do things out of play, you do things out of curiosity, you do things out of, you know, just candor, right? You just want to be in that space, so you're constantly playing, and you're allowed to be in that space, right? And so, of course, you know, there is that situation where, you know, my parents did have to, you know, teach us, and that was the only way, you know, that they knew, you know, that because they themselves were also in their own fears, you know, their own fears of maybe not being able to hold space for us if there wasn't going to be enough money, or, you know, so it's understandable as to how this made sense at the time. What isn't understandable is when we take those coping mechanisms into our adult life, and especially when we're trying to up-level and upgrade on a massive scale, right? Because truly, like, the universe knows that we're allowed to receive. The universe is supporting us. Like, the universe wants to support us. The universe wants to have our back. The universe wants us to feel loved and abundant and, you know, connected. So there's no such thing as having the universe like letting you down, right? Like, the universe desires to support you, because if you have a desire, you're already supposed to have it. Like, you're supposed to connect with it, right? Because your desire, that means that it has existed somewhere in you know, in the astral, in the ethers. And so the moment you feel the desire for it, it's already on its way to you, right? That's the law of attraction, you know, states that, you know, what you think you manifest. But then there's all these stories that are holding us back from truly, truly receiving on a deep level. And then even when we're asking for it, because we have these subliminal feelings that we haven't fully processed, what happens is that we are, you know, emanating a frequency that is kind of clouded. You know, it's not clear. Like, even though we desire to feel that way, and we desire to receive, and we desire to manifest, because these things are sort of in the subconscious, if we don't bring it fully into the conscious, and we, you know, we say, hey, I'm about to change this, like, I know that I can have a different reality, the universe can't help us. And it's like, you know, kind of, we keep emitting two frequencies. So this is something that we're going, you know, into during the Divine Cash Queen program, because it truly is like so beautiful to see people shift their mindset around money, and how when they shift their mindset around money, they shift their mindset around so many other things at the same time, right? Because when you shift something deeply enough, you will automatically cause a ripple effect in everything else. And so everything is interlinked, everything is connected, everything has a value at the moment at which it exists, and you get to decide, you get to choose something else when you are aware of it. So the Divine Cash Queen program is all about that. It's all about you unrooting those limiting patterns that are there, and there's lots of different exercises and tools that I'm sharing so that you can actually transfer, you know, this old vibration into an updated vibration. So that, you know, there's some very practical and very simple and very easy tools that you can utilize on a daily basis in order to shift that mindset around money. And the speciality with the Divine Cash Queen program as well is that it's actually interconnected with sex magic. And this is why my sex magic class is part of the package when you purchase this this course, because sex magic truly is like the ultimate cauldron to creating that which you desire. So when you're coupling your own inner healing, and when you're shifting things at the root, and you are connecting this with orgasmic frequency powers, then it's like, it just doubles your chances of being able to catapult yourself. Because not only are you then working on your mindset and how to shift your mindset around money, love, abundance, wealth, you are also at the same time aligning your whole chakra system, you're aligning your whole energy field, so that this thing that is coming to you that you're desiring so much is actually going to come to you. So you're actually connecting those two bridges. You're connecting the bridge between what's going on in the ethers and how to fully embody that in your own physical body, so that you can actually shift it on a holographic level, so that your hologram in which you live can truly elevate you and truly just change. Because when you shift something on at the root and you connect your orgasmic power to it, it just, you know, it just quantifies, because your orgasm is like a massive magnifying glass, and depending on how you enter the orgasmic state, and orgasms, you know, and everything that is connected to sensuality and pleasure, the more you do that, the more you magnify what's actually going to manifest. So, you know, shifting your mindset is one thing, but then shifting your frequency and aligning your frequency and your whole body and your whole being with that which you desire through orgasmic manifestation or orgasmic powers, it basically just like woof, just connects both of them together. It's like a big magnetic attraction that takes place. And so I've seen it happen for me on so many different levels. I've seen it happen for so many clients of mine, you know, where they're actually coming in, working with me shift something around, you know, their business, and then they see that something shifts around their own relationship with their partner, or their relationship to self, or their relationship to self-love, because these things are interconnected. So when you you know, it all moves at the same time. So when you navigate through one of the bricks and you push one of the bricks, automatically all the other bricks will shift at the same time. It has a domino effect. And, you know, orgasmic power is really, really connected to the universe, because you're using the life force of the universe. This is how it actually works, is you're truly connecting to the earth energy, to the fire energy of the earth, and you're connecting to the ethers, to the cosmos, everything that's really far away, like all the different planes, and you're bringing all those planes together through those different techniques, and how to reach orgasm, and how to reach more pleasure, and how to, you know, truly open up your body to receiving more pleasure. Because the more you open up your body to receiving more pleasure, more types of orgasms, more types of different connections to your sensuality and sexuality, well, the more you open yourself up to actually receiving other things as well. So they're all interconnected. So yeah, I'm just going to leave a link down below if you want to join. You can join at any time. So it's an 8-week course, and it, you know, we go step by step so that you actually have time to up level and integrate the work throughout. And some exercises you literally will be utilizing for the rest of your life, because they are things that you will utilize over and over again as you keep up leveling, right? So you keep up leveling, you keep integrating these things, and every time you up level, so let's say maybe today you want to manifest, you know, like $5,000 every month, and that's what you'll be working with. But those techniques work on every single scale. So when you're then scaling your business or your lifestyle from, you know, having 5K into 10K into 50K into 100K, it doesn't matter. Like, it's always the same principle. You have to always come back to those same principles. So I really hope that you will join the Divine Cash Queen. It is a program that is worth so much more, at which I am, you know, offering it, just because I understand it's not easy for you maybe to manifest a lot of cash right now, and that's okay. You know, you'll learn how to go over this, and this is a course that I will be, you know, fine-tuning over and over as well. So, you know, this is the first time I'm launching the course. The course is definitely worth like so much more. Like I was looking at the value. The value is definitely more than $1,000 for sure, and it's definitely a course that I will be selling for that price in the future, because I just know that this work works. I've used it. I've experienced it. I've experienced the magic. I've experienced the magic with other goddesses who joined. So, you know, it's rocket science. These are things that are you know, have been around in the spiritual fields for a very long time. They're always the same principles. It's all about how you integrate those principles in your life so that it works. And the speciality with this course is that, as I said, it's coupled with your sensuality and your sexuality, because your sexuality truly is that seat where you fully embody yourself. You embody the inner goddess, you embody the inner queen, you embody all these archetypes, and you actually get to feel the sensations of what it's like to fully up level and to really stretch your capacity. So that's the speciality with this course, is that you're really connecting to your own body, to your own frequency, and what it feels like to feel expansive. Like, truly, what are the bodily sensations when you are feeling expansive? We're really focusing a lot on that. This is, you know, how my background as a dancer is really coming in handy here, because I just know how to break down these bodily sensations, because I taught dance for so long. And so I'm very connected and in tune with my own body. And to me, it's like something really natural. And I'm totally able to walk you step by step through each of the different frameworks so that you understand fully. And if you don't, then obviously, you know, when you're in the group, you can ask questions, and we can tailor the course specifically to your own needs as well. And to see, you know, are you into work on business? Are you into work on love? Are you into work on money? You know, like, it's the wealth mentality that we're really working on, and wealth mentality always touches all of the areas. So I'm just going to leave a link below in the comments so that you can, you know, just join. leave me a message, or private, send me a personal message if you want to jump on a call for us, if you have some questions around the course, if you want to know whether this course is for you or isn't for you, what exactly we will be covering, all these things. You can just message me quite easily, and I can walk you through the program. Okay, so much love to you. Have a beautiful day wherever you are, and I hope my little story helped in some way. I know it will. Okay, bye.